All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, first off, thank you for taking care of the test. Let me know if you have any issues. I don't foresee that you will, but just let me know if you do. Now, these videos, even though I keep saying they're going to be short, I do promise these will probably be the shortest of any videos that you are going to have to watch. All right, because as we start a new chapter, number one is going to be easier. Number two, I did break this down um, pretty fairly and pretty easily, I think. So. First thing we're going to take a look at is, well, this whole chapter is going to be based on functions and what is a function, how do we use them, that kind of thing. Now, when it comes to a function, what is a function? A function basically is we've been dealing with them, and in fact, when we were graphing straight lines, that is linear functions. It's a function. So a function is any time you put in, and it can be anything, it can be a set of points. Actually, that's exactly what one of the things a function is it is a set of points, whether it's a set of points listed out like you're seeing right now, whether it's a set of points on a graph like these, or whether it is graphed like this. This is made of points. So the first thing is that a function is made of points. But not all of these things are functions. Everything on here is what's considered a relation. And what that means is, think about on a graph, you have an x and a y. A relation is any points on a graph. Set of points is a relation because when you put in an x, you get a y back. The difference is with a function is every time you put in an x, you only get one y back. So every x is going to have a y. Every time we put something into the machine, only one thing can pop out. So let's take a look at some examples here. So the first one. And with these, whether it's a function or not, we're not worried about domain and range, just whether it's a function or not. What you're looking for is just the x's. So let's take a look at the x's. So we have 1, -2. So that means when we put a 1 in the machine, we get a -2 back. So we're fine so far. We put in a -2. We get a 0. We're fine. Put in a -1, we get a 2. So every time we've put something in, we get something different back or something specific. Now, here's the problem. The problem is here, when we put in a 1, we get a 3. But now wait a second, when we put in a 1 before, we got a -2. So this machine is not, it's not working, right? We put in a 1, it could be, what we get back is it could be a -2, could be a 3. Every time we put a number into the machine, it has to come back with only one number. So this is not a function. So on the study island, that's pretty much what you're just going to look for. No, not a function. And why? Because of this right here, the repeat x. Let's take a look at number 2. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 5, 4, 5, 5, 15. And what you're looking for is just the x's. When we put in a 1, we get a 1 back. When we put in a 2, we get a 2 back. When we put in a 3, we get a 5, 4, 10, 5, 15. There are no repeat x's. Every time we put in those numbers, the only thing coming back is a specific number tied to that one number. So yes, this one is a function. So when it comes to points, you're just looking for, are there any repeats? Just take a look at the next one very quickly. 17, we get 5/4. Put in a 15/4, you get 17. So 17, 15/4, 15, 17/4. The answer is yes. This is a function. What about this one? When we put in a -3, we get a 2/5. But here, when we put in a -3, we get a different thing. It's 3/5. It is different. Those are different numbers. So the answer is no. So that's pretty much it with that. For if you have points. Something I did want to show you, I don't think I'm going to be able to write here, but something I did want to show you is if you ever see this, oh, I can't write, sweet. If you ever see this represents your x's, these represent your y's, so x, y. And what you see is, this is a good representation, and I don't think you'll see it in the study island, but just in case. 1, you plug in a 1, you put a 1 into the machine, you get a -1. 3, you get a 4. 5, you get a 4. It's okay if we put in an x and we get the same y, but you'll see here in a second. This is fine. This is in fact a function. Yes. This one though, when we plug in a 3, we get a -2. When we plug in a 1, we get a -1. So far, we're okay. because when we plug that in, we only get one thing. But here's the problem. If we plug in a 0, we're either going to get a -1 or a 0. So there is a repeat. So even though it doesn't look like there's a repeat, there's 2 arrows coming from that. So no, it is not a function. And think about it. The points that we're observing here are these right here. You can even write them out like we had before. And you see there's a repeat here. All right, and the same thing with the table that I will show you real quick. You're just looking for repeat x's because a function is where we put one thing into the machine and we only get one thing back. For every x, there's a y. So when you're looking at tables, look for repeats. Nothing there. This is a function. We look here, look. We plug in 1, we get a -1, or we get a +1. So that would be not a function. All right. The only other thing you're probably going to see in the study island is graphs. Let's see if I can, scroll here. Graphs. 2 types of graphs you'll probably see. You'll either see points like this, or you'll see a continuous line or curve. And this is actually even easier. So remember what our goal is here. We can't have any repeat x's. Now you could sit here with these ones, not the continuous lines, but you could sit here and you could list out the points. But all you have to do is, are there any points that are on top of each other? As in, there's a thing, you can take your pencil, you can take your finger vertical, up and down, like this. You can take that pencil or your finger and just in vertical, just go straight across the graph. I'm going to do it by drawing some lines. You can see I'm only going through 1 point at a time. If you ever hit 2 points, not a function. So this one, yes, there is no overlap, nothing on top of each other. This is in fact a function. Again, that's because you take a vertical line, your pencil, and just drag it straight across. Take this and just drag it straight across. If you hit more than 1 point, not a function. This is what I mean. Look, I'm going to start here, only going through a point, only going through a point, only going through a point. I'm going to switch colors because here's the problem. I have to draw with my finger here. There we go. It goes through 2 points. That's what we're looking for. Those 2 points are -2, -2, and -2, -4. That's why this vertical line test is what it's called, works. You're looking for if there's any overlap. Same thing down here. You're just seeing if at any point on the graph you hit your line or your curve 2 times. So what I mean is, and it's a little hard to show here, but if you look, draw a bunch of lines or just take your pencil, drag it across, you're never hitting 2 points at any time. Same thing here. Actually, all of these are functions. You're never going to hit 2 points at the same time. And when I say points, I mean this right here. Our line or our curve is made up of points. So here you're only hitting 1. You're only hitting 1. Only hitting 1. You'll only hit 1 at all points where you draw a line or drag your pencil across. And same thing here. So these are all functions. These are all functions. I want to get to an example where one is not. I think it'll be pretty obvious to you when it's not, because what you see is kind of looks like the thing is on its side. You'll see overlap. An example of not a function on a graph would be, come on. These are all functions. Here's an example of not a function right here. Draw a line and it hits 1, 2 points. In fact, it would do that quite a bit actually. It would do it here as well. Not a function. This one is, like I said, our straight lines are linear functions that it's in the word. This is a function. This, never hitting more than 1 point. This is hitting 2 points right here and here. And if you draw another one, it would hit as well. So this is a no, This one would be a yes. And this one would be a no. Alright guys, that'll be about it. So you're just identifying if there are repeat x's essentially, because we cannot have an x that has two y's. Alright.